let's talk about 3 foods I try to give up. I'm still not there on one of them, but 3 foods we should all give up for our lipedema health, for our lymphatic health, to stop the progression of lipedema in our bodies. But let's also talk about what we can have instead, because there is no point in talking about what we can't have if there's not an alternative on the table, right? Because our brain has to get around, oh, I'm going without that. I feel terrible, and now I have to go without that as well. The first one we're going to talk about is bread. We even have a saying, best thing since sliced bread, don't we? Bread is just the best thing. I love bread. Bread doesn't love me. I'm addicted to bread. Bread still doesn't love me. So, what can we do instead? And why should we not eat it for a start? It's high in carbs, wheat, and yeast, and all the things that inflame our lipedema and inflame our body in general. Doesn't matter how convenient it is. And, if you have watched my fatigue video, doesn't matter that a sandwich quickly takes away decision fatigue of what to have for lunch. It's still inflammatory to our body. What can we have instead? I've actually done another video on good, better, best for bread, so you might want to check that out. But I just wanted to cover 3 particular things that I try really hard to avoid. I'm human. I don't always avoid them. If I'm not careful though, and I have it more than once, then I feel it. I notice it and I regret it. I'm human. We do it again. Always, right? Because we forget. We're born to forget. Women wouldn't have more than one baby if we weren't born to forget things like that, right? Or the pain or the, inflammation. Bread. What can we have instead of bread? In the good, better, best, where I talked about the first thing you would do is don't try and jump from having your white sliced fluffy bread that's full of chemicals that it lasts table for a week or more. You won't be able to jump to nothing. It highly unlikely. If you can, tell me, because I want to know who you are, because not many people can do that. So you're going to go good, better, best. You're currently on the white fluffy bread. You're going to go to a good sourdough. Don't let anyone else in the house eat it. It's yours. Right? You swap to the good sourdough. Unless you have daughters in the house, then give your daughters the sourdough, because odds are they've got lipedema too. So we're going to go to the sourdough. Then better than that, so good is the sourdough, better is the keto wrap. So there's heaps of wraps in the supermarket now, and some of them are really good with very little ingredients in them. And there are keto options in there. There's one that I get for my husband. It's Mission Carb Balance wraps, and I think it's 4 grams of carb per wrap. They're soft and they're lovely. They don't like me any more than bread likes me, sadly. But every now and again, I will have a keto wrap just because, right? Best would be either have you seen the carnivore wraps that are out there, or homemade keto wraps, I guess you could also call them, and they're made literally with cottage cheese and eggs, zapped in a blender and baked in the oven until it makes a wrap. I don't have a blender. I have not tried it. So if you've tried it, let me know, but that would be the best option. But if you really want to excel in this area, then you learn to go without bread altogether. And that's kind of the camp I'm in, because the keto wraps don't really, I can feel the difference. And because I don't have a blender, those 2 options are sort of out. And sourdough, I'm past that. I know that's not the best for me. I will every now and again, if I make soup or something like that, which is really rare because I live in a really hot place, then I'll get a sourdough from, the fancy grocery store, and we will have that with the soup. But as I said, that might be a once every, I'm going to say 6 months. It's not very often. So I'm in the camp of, when I make my husband's wraps and things like that, I will take the meat that goes inside that and I will just have a bowl of it. And honestly, once you've eaten, you don't suddenly feel like you've gone without, as long as you don't have bread in the house as a standard thing, or you're not suddenly going from eating bread every day to not. This was a progression for me over many years. So now it's no big deal for me to sit down and have a bowl of, mince or cut up meat or whatever it is, I don't feel like I miss out on those carbs. So bread is a big thing to try and get past as best you can. If you're like me and you understand that you're addicted to it and you face it like an addiction that you want to get off, then it very much becomes a very, like every now and again. But don't get me wrong, I will have bread every now and again. But it's such a big journey then to pull yourself back. It takes all the willpower in the world the next day to, right, that's it, back to normal again. It really does, because those carbs they get into you so quickly. Okay, the second food we need to give up with lipedema, pasta. And this is a tricky one because pasta is very cheap to live off. And because it's very cheap to live off, it has become probably an addiction, just like the bread. It is a tough one, but the good, better, best version of this, and I haven't done a video on this yet, but I will. It's in the work. It's on the planning list. It is, first of all, go to the legume pastas. There's lentil pastas. There's a higher protein pasta. It's still high in carbs, but it's got more protein in it, which will be a little bit more balanced. There is rice pastas. There is chickpea pastas. There is all kinds of pastas out there now. So the first step would be changing to one of those more nutritionally dense type of pastas, but not as cheap. So if it's the price point that is the reason you buy the pasta, then that's a trickier road to navigate. But the cost of a better pasta or no pasta at all is going to be cheaper in the long run than to continue to eat pasta, and what it's going to do to your health and the medical interventions you're going to need down the track if you continue to eat it. Tough love, Kylie. Sorry. But pasta, carbs, bread, they're cheap, they're easy, but they're cheap and easy for a reason. And now we've got an entire globe probably addicted to these items, and they're doing our health no good, particularly with lipedema. So pasta has to go. And I kind of save my pasta fixes for holidays. I will always have like a carbonara or maybe a lasagna or something like that on a holiday. That is it. I don't cook it at home. I just don't even keep it in the house. The only sort of grainy pasta-y thing I've ever kept in the house, and it's not pasta, it's a grain, is rice. And it ran out a while back and I've never replaced it because we just actually don't use it anymore. It's going to be tricky if you're a constant pasta eater, but the first step would be replacing how many times a week do you actually eat pasta, and replacing half of them with something else. And it's going to be even harder if you've got children or husbands or whatever. If it's the husbands and there's no children involved, it is okay for you to eat something different to your husband. I promise. I've done it for years. They don't even notice what's on your plate. As long as they got what they want, you're all good, right? And I've also heard so many women say, I'm not making another meal. I'm not making separate meals. And they're talking about for them. But I want you to swap that and go, aren't you worth making a separate meal for? You're not making a separate meal for him or them. You're making a separate meal for you. That's the distinction. That's the difference. And you're worth it. You're worth making a separate meal for. I've always made a separate meal for myself because I'm worth having the food that I think is healthy for my body. And for years, that was things like plant-based foods and salads and veggies, which my husband and son never ate. So I was like, no, I'm going to make myself the big salad or the whatever veggies I was cooking because I was worth it. So that's where you've got to get to. But first, you've got to break the addiction of the pasta and find an alternative financially that you can swap it out with. The next thing you can swap it out with that is often very cheap is vegetables. And I know I'm carnivore, but not everybody's carnivore, right? I'm a firm believer in everybody figuring out what they need. And the research is out there for lipedema of, at the very least, ketogenic diet, which includes vegetables, or carnivore, right? So if you're a vegetable lover, then zoodles. Have you heard of zoodles? They've been around for years now. So that is zucchini noodles. any kind of noodles. There's noodle makers now that you put your vegetable in it, you zucchini, sorry, what's it called for my American friends? Zucchini. It's not squash. I don't know. It'll come to me. I'll put it on the screen when I edit. There's another name. Um, so there's so many veggies out there. Spaghetti squash. I know my American friends can get spaghetti squash way cheaper than we can get it here, potentially in the UK as well. In here, like it costs a fortune to get one spaghetti squash. It's like fancy food. So, that is another great alternative to having pasta. The good would, swap from your normal pasta to the pre-made pastas that are made of chickpeas, lentils, that kind of thing. Then move to vegetables. Then get to a point where you actually don't need any kind of carby filler at all. That would be the best version of that. And you can get there. It is a mindset thing. It's an eventual, oh, okay, once I start eating, I'm fine. I actually don't need whatever it is. Just the bowl of meat is fine, all right? Or just the bowl of meat and salad is fine. But it is a mindset shift for sure, and it's a gradual thing. You have to build new neural pathways in your brain to support that new habit. So it's not going to be comfortable at first, and the addiction's going to grab you, and all that. It's still important to do if you do not want lipedema to progress, or if you have lost weight or had liposuction and lipedema surgery, then you don't want it coming back. And it will if you don't do these sorts of things. And finally, number 3, we have oils, seed oils. And I talk about this a lot, but I continue to talk about it because for new people coming on, A, and also B, sometimes you need to hear something 10, 20 times before you suddenly go, you know what, I'm going to try it. And sometimes you need to hear it a certain way from a certain person, in a certain, way of speaking for you to finally go, oh, yeah, you know what? That's actually really important. Or sometimes you need to hear it the 20 times to finally go, oh, you know what? I think I should probably try and do something there. All right. And oils are a funny thing because you just think that they're convenient. Remember what I always say? Convenience is killing us. So it makes it so easy before you cook something to just do this with the oil, right? It's causing us major problems with inflammation, major problems. Okay, we're not just talking little things. This is something you do every day. And it's always the things we do every single day that have the biggest impact on our health and our life, both positively and negatively. So we need to swap out this oil that's easy to do this with, or spray, or whatever your thing is, and swap it for lard, butter, tallow, bacon grease, drippings from your last roast. That's what I do. Anything I cook, I pour into a little glass container, and that's what I use for cooking. And if I don't have that, then I'm using butter. It's really simple, but your body knows what to do with that stuff. All of the seed oils are so full of omega-6s, and they're so inflammatory to our body in large amounts, and we're getting it in everything. So if you're not only cooking with seed oils, but you're eating processed foods of some description, herbs and spices, sauces, condiments, they're the big killers, right? It's in everything. Those seed oils are ever present, and they're killing us. They really are, right? All this convenience that we've developed, since the 1950s, when, the industrial age started to automate everything and make life easy for us. Well, how's our health gone? Not real good, has it? So it's like, okay, we've got to go back to the old ways. We've got to do the hard yards. We've got to do all the things that we need to do. Take the extra time, and all these things, the bread, the pasta, and the oils, all it means is you're going to have to spend a little bit of extra time, which I know you're going to say, I don't have extra time. However, your health depends on it. Whether or not you're leaning over a trolley, walking around the supermarket in 10 years or not, or if that's your mobility now, is leaning over a trolley so that you can walk, well, then potentially if you don't do these sorts of other things, you're going to be not even going to be able to get to the supermarket. You'll be completely immobile or in a wheelchair. Okay, so It's all these little things, I promise you, that changes the dial on your health moving forward. So I know it's not popular. I know it's not sexy. I know it's not fun. And our addictions grab a hold of us. But bread, pasta, oils. How are we going to replace those? Keep it cheap, keep it within our budget so that the lipedema does not progress in ourselves and our daughters. Let me know your ideas around this and what do you do instead of those things, and how much trouble do you have still with your addiction to these things? Because I know for me it's pretty real, it's still there, and you can't kind of let yourself just slide too much because bang, you're back in it. It doesn't take long at all. Right, so tell me your alternatives.